Time now for the markets with Leighton, and a tight supply of cattle is helping support beef prices.
That's right, Amy. That's a story that's going on. Consumer demand still being closely watched as far as the beef sector by the traders. Also ahead as we look at the markets this week. Ethanol production sets a new record in 2010. A new rice mill is announced for the region, while some chicken processors are now said to be losing money. It was announced this week that 2010 was a record year for U.S. ethanol production. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says that total production for the calendar year was over 13 billion gallons, compared to just under 11 billion gallons in 2009. The U.S. ethanol export figure also set a record in 2010, topping 397 million gallons. The increased usage of corn for ethanol production is one of the reasons that grain has the tightest set of fundamentals of any row crop right now. Analyst John Roach says he thinks the availability of corn may become more interesting as we get to the end of the season.
I mean, you have to look at corn in one of two ways. Either we have enough to get through to the new crop, or we don't have enough to get through to the new crop. If we don't have enough to get through, and even if we do, it's possibly located in the wrong spot. When you get down to very tight supplies, down to maybe a 3-week inventory, the corn seems to be in the wrong place. So you have to pay money to get it to move to a different location. We also have a problem with the hedging on corn, where you have a huge discount as soon as you go past the July contract. When you move into the following months, you start having a discounted futures market, which takes away hedging opportunities. So a lot of the elevators are going to have most all their corn gone before they get finished with the July futures contract, because they just have no way really to hedge it. There's too much risk involved. So as we get down to the end, we're going to find out whether we do have enough, whether it's located in the right location, whether the ethanol companies, processors can get their hands on the corn. If they can't, they just have to slow down their production or maybe even stop production. In which case, if you do that, then we have enough to go around. So that jury's still out on that.
A new rice mill has been announced for the Louisiana Delta just across the Mississippi River from Sharkey County. Located near Marouge in Morehouse Parish, the $10 million mill will initially employ 20 to 25 workers and operate on 2 shifts. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal says the project is a good example of adding value to commodities produced in the region. Well, looking at the first trivia quiz for the month of March, it deals with a little history. Here's the question: where was Mississippi's first county agriculture agent hired? Your choices are Scott County, Monroe County, Sunflower County, or DeSoto County. I'll give you the answer right here shortly. Moving into the livestock markets, poultry producer Sanderson Farms of Laurel posted a hefty net loss in its fiscal first quarter, according to the website meetingplace.com. It's a situation about 3/4 of all chicken processors are dealing with now: higher feed costs and an oversupply of chicken driving down market prices. Chief Executive Joe Sanderson of Sanderson Farms says the industry is unlikely to cut production near term because the companies are expecting a seasonal rise in chicken prices. There was a bit of a price correction in the cattle sector as this week got underway. However, Extension Ag economist John Michael Riley told me late Tuesday morning the basic fundamentals of the beef market have not changed. John Michael, let's start with fed cattle. We've seen a little bit of a stumble in prices here to begin the month of March.
Yes, we have. Prices the past couple of days have moved probably more sharply than people would like, but moving down just a little bit. The big concern is these oil prices that we're seeing rise, very, very fast. We're concerned about what that's going to do to consumer demand. Consumers' budgets are really tight. They have been for a while, and we're really uncertain how, as we spend more money at the pump, how that's going to impact beef purchases, because we know that beef is a little bit more sensitive to price moves as opposed to some other goods in the grocery store.
But even though beef prices have come down some, we're still, as you've said before, at historically high levels, even though they're down some now. That's
right. We've hit some high levels the past last week, and so that's nothing to be worried about. So these lower prices, we've seen corn move down a little bit as well. Obviously, anytime you start seeing the market slip a little bit, you get a little nervous. But we are at really strong prices overall compared to compared to history.
And on the feeder cattle side, of course, you mentioned corn has come down some, but still the level of the corn prices of recent months, that's still kind of limiting some interest in feeders?
It is. Right before I came over, looked at break-even prices on feeding a calf out. 97 cents is where I got it figured out if you started a calf today. So we're bumping up on that dollar level. I was talking to some folks in the feedlots last week, and they were discussing $1.10, $1.10 for cost of gain on calves. So really high levels on cost of gain. Luckily, though, we have seen cattle prices move higher to kind of offset some of those higher feeding costs.
But again, the basic fundamentals of the market, I mean, when you talk about export demand, that hasn't really changed. Again, it's the socioeconomic factors from other parts of the world contributing to this.
A lot of concern over consumer demand, but yes, the market's still in a tight supply situation, which is kind of keeping these prices bolstered. But again, you know, consumer demand is going to be one of those things that we watch very closely as we continue to move forward.
Well, we move forward here on Farm Week by giving you the answer to the trivia quiz now. And this week it is D. DeSoto County is the right pick. The state's first county agriculture agent, as it was called, was hired there by the Board of Supervisors in 1909.